Look, if you just look at the words before they start scrolling, it looks like it says Melody of Men. Sure, this is the manliest game ever. So literally, I saw like 3 seconds of gameplay for this. And it looked kind of like a Guitar Hero chart, but the characters were sort of running on it, and I have no idea what the gameplay will be like. Oh, this is like a... It's like a big band remix of the Kingdom Hearts theme. I'm really wondering if there are going to be any Utada Hikaru tracks you can play, or if it's just like the ones without vocals. Have your actions to match the timing guides that show exactly when to press a button. I get that, but is it just like one button corresponding to each of the characters? The outer circle will gradually shrink. Aim for the moment it lines up. Okay, this is pretty easy stuff to just figure out on your own. Is it really that simple? Hey, those look like the Theatrhythm characters from Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, the 3DS Final Fantasy rhythm game. Same exact sort of art style and everything. Thought they forgot about that game. So what button is Sora? What button is Sora? A. Oh yes, my favorite song. Also attack with L and R. What's the point of changing it though? Same buttons? It's the same button regardless of the note? You need X for the crystals. Okay, so that's kind of like a different note. So you jump to dodge attacks, but if it's an enemy in front of you, you attack it. So this is a little different than what I was expecting. Dude, I was holding B, so it skipped it. I keep pressing Y because I think that... I keep thinking that Y corresponds to the left side, but I need to do L and R. I'm so used to having the face buttons be notes with Miku, Goofy, and Donald. Did I call him Daffy earlier? Doofy and Donald. Yeah, that's what we're going with. Why did no one correct me? A track selection. Select difficulty. Okay, this is sort of similar to, like a rhythm game overlay. Proud is the hardest. Items. Okay, beginner, standard, proud. We should start on standard, right? It looks like you'd have like certain loadouts with items and stuff, which kind of rubs me the wrong way because a rhythm game is supposed to be super arcadey, right? So does that mean some people are going to have high scores by using a bunch of items because they stockpiled? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make it feel like somewhat like an RPG since the main games are RPGs. One is autoplay. Wait, do I have it on autoplay right now? I'm not touching anything. Okay, so that's kind of just like watching the track. Okay, that's weird that it didn't say it. I wonder how long it would have taken me to realize it was on autoplay. I'd be like, wow, I'm not missing anything. Wow, I'm really good at this game. Hold on, is there any drawback in pressing all 3 buttons every time? Because I kept pressing 2 buttons. I'm going to press 3 buttons all at the same time and see if there's any downside to that. Literally no downside yet. How am I missing that note still? Dude, I broke the game already. Oh, except the jump. This is kind of confusing to look at. This is it's a little hard reading this. I feel like I have no depth perception because I jump up and I immediately run into the enemy when I jump up. Is that an enemy I need to jump for? I can't tell, I'm still hitting it. Okay, so you're supposed to move him around and use the shoulder buttons. I kind of like that. It's kind of fun moving the stick while dealing with something on the side. Literally, though, when it's just note presses like that, I'm just hitting all 3 buttons at the same time. I'm pressing L, R, and A all at the same time, so that way I don't even have to react to there being more enemies. Because if you press all 3 buttons at once, it'll cover any amount of enemies, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. They made a game, that's for sure. I'm not really sure if this is a game yet. Did I die? Those enemies with multiple HP, they're really confusing me. Literally can't tell. Literally can't tell. The enemies with multiple HP are really confusing me. Could just be, like I said, this game is very unique, and so it could just be the learning curve. Okay. That's really confusing looking, because when Sora jumps and he has to hit the enemy in the air, the 2 enemies that are on the ground, they look like they're in the air. I'm not really sure if a lack of readability can really be a critique of a game, right? Because it could just be part of the learning curve. You could consider it part of the learning curve and then just say, oh, you know, it's just a get good type game. If it's not easily readable at first, it just means you have to play it more. Am I missing a note? The enemy with multiple HP is standing right behind these other enemies. And I'm expecting, like, okay, I'm going to have to do 2 notes back to back really fast, right? And so I press a note, and then I get ready to press it again, but it's like he already got knocked away, and I'm not sure what's happening there. Can you get HP back, or is that what items are for? I don't know. Probably items? NGC here sounds like he's played it before, and he would know. If you're sight reading a new song, probably not going to play well at first. Yeah, like I'm saying, that could just be considered part of the learning curve. But, so Miku, for example, I can play a new song in Miku for the first time and sight read it and do decent, so long as I'm not playing on extreme or something like that. But is that just because it's easily readable, or is that just because of the universal skill I've gotten from playing Miku in general? You know what I mean? Whereas this, it's so much its own thing, you're not really going to have any kind of legacy skill carry over from anything. So it's really hard to evaluate this. Can't believe I got that. Okay. I think there might actually be a drawback in mashing all 3 buttons at the same time when it's a whole bunch of notes close to each other, because The reason why in general there's no downside to it is because, like, let's say there's one enemy in front of Sora and you press all 3 buttons, Sora will attack it, but then the other 2 characters won't do anything. And so it's not like you're going to be like negative on recovery. It's not like you're going to be in recovery frames for anything. But like, let's say there was an enemy in front of Sora and an enemy in front of Goofy, but it's actually a little bit further ahead of Goofy, and so you're not actually supposed to hit them at the same time. It's supposed to be consecutive notes, like back to back. I think if there's one that's kind of close to Goofy and you press the button, it will let him do the attack, in which case then you would be in recovery frames when you need to actually hit it. And that would probably be more apparent on the more difficult tracks. Visibility is hard also because the multiple HP enemy is bigger and blocks you from seeing what's coming behind him. Yeah, that might be by design. Should we try it on the harder difficulty now? Just to see if we can pass it? Character stats. Oh, I didn't even notice. Each character has individual HP. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even notice a HUD. Was there an HP meter when I was playing? Let's see if we can do that on the harder difficulty. Proud. There was? Okay, I need to look at it this time. But like, whether I have a lot of HP or not any HP, that's not going to change how I play. I'm going to always try to play as if I don't want to get hit, right? Okay, I see it now. What? That is so confusing looking. You have the flying enemies. Okay, I think when it's 2 that you're supposed to do at the same time, there's the line in between, right? I'm encountering 2 enemies that I'm supposed to hit at the same time, one of which is flying and one of which isn't, and so there's that line connecting the 2, and it's covering up what's behind it. I jump in the air. It could be my eyes deceiving me, but I jumped in the air and it looked like there were 2 enemies side by side that I had to hit at the same time in the air, but the only enemy that, the only character of mine that jumped was Sora. You only saw the gauge for Sora though? What happens if Goofy and Donald die? I don't know. Can't believe, maybe if they die, you can revive them, but if Sora dies, you're dead for good. Can't believe that the attack button isn't different for the characters. It seems so obvious. I'm not calling that a negative yet. It's just very, very bizarre feeling. I unpause it and immediately die. Okay, have to activate tryhard mode here. Fundamentally, from a very inherent game design standpoint here, I think the most glaringly obvious issue with the readability with this compared to other rhythm games is that for Miku, for example, so with Miku, for example, you see the notes appear on screen and you see the notes traveling to it. So so you're able to sort of look ahead, right? So when I play Miku, when I'm tryharding, I don't look at the note that I am in the middle of pressing. I've already looked at it and registered it in my mind. And then when I'm pressing a note, I'm already looking like 3 notes ahead with my peripheral vision on everything. With this, since you're walking towards all the enemies, which are notes, the notes are covering themselves up, so you can't really see what's ahead of you. Whole party is the same HP bar. Oh, so I guess like, Sora, Donald, and Goofy's HP all get added together for one pool. Who cares what their differences in HP is then? Let's try this again. I'm dying like 2/3 of the way into the track, right? Is that where I was, or is that being way too optimistic? I think that was my best run so far. I don't know why I pressed X instead of jump there. Crud. Did we beat it? Hey, we beat it. That only took like 3 tries, right? Literally that final stretch, even though that was sort of the... even though that was sort of the climax of the song, that was not the most difficult part. Because even though it was throwing a bunch of notes at you, that was all just mashing A. Because that last final stretch, even though it had a bunch of stuff on screen, it didn't require any jumps. And it didn't really require any mini hard to react X presses. Remember, the little crystal that triggers a spell is X. Hey, that was an A? Maybe they're not... maybe your HP doesn't affect the score. Maybe it's just your note accuracy. We got an A. Dude. Okay, maybe I was a bit too harsh on the readability of things. Because if I was able to clear that on either the 3rd or 4th try, on what I'm assuming is going to be the hardest difficulty, maybe it's just one of those games you have to play for a while to get used to. Because it is very, very unique. Style? In track selection, you can choose from these different play styles. Oh, what? It's all actions with a single button. That's literally button mash mode. So that's basically easy mode, right? Automatically done. Okay, so this is basically just let the game play itself. But if you just want to like hit on a button like a drum. Performer mode. Additional performer targets appear that must be hit with the corresponding button. So it's just more targets. Won't take damage if you miss a target. Huh? Did I not hit that? I'm pressing Y. Why is it not doing anything? Am I hitting this or am I not? Because I'm pressing Y and I'm not seeing any kind of feedback. So weird, yeah. That's an understatement. I'm hitting Y and I'm not getting any kind of feedback, positive or negative. So I have no idea if I'm doing it right. Imagine playing this with Joy-Con. Am I hitting these at all? It said that there's a chain combo thing, right? Pretty tight with the timing window. So am I missing them? it should do something bad sounding if I miss it. Or it should say miss. It should say miss or bad, or it should make like a little sound effect. You know what I mean? Some kind of feedback. Anything. Anything. Why is that timing window so tight, while the other notes aren't? This seems like a very, very strange and slightly convoluted way to divvy up the difficulty modes. Why wouldn't they just have something above proud called like super proud, extra proud, whatever it's called, whatever they could call it, and just do the same thing that they did between normal and proud, but just add more notes? This seems like they're trying to incorporate more buttons, because Y was a button you didn't need to press before. But if they wanted you to have different buttons which correspond to different notes, why don't they just have that in the game by default? You know how you can press A or X? Like, you know how the crystals require you to press X? I just want to see the feedback for pressing this correctly so I know what I'm looking for. How come I was able to get that one? The window is just really, really tight for some reason, but the times I got it there didn't feel particularly tight, but then I'm missing it in so many other situations, and so the only conclusion I can come to is that the window is super tight for some reason. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's a very, very novel idea, and I think that the uniqueness of the idea itself is enough to make this worth playing. Like, if you're really into rhythm games and you want to play something different, obviously if you're just really into Kingdom Hearts, then you might want to play it just for the Kingdom Hearts stuff. But like, if you're really into rhythm games and you want something kind of unique, it's unique, but it also feels kind of like an action game too, because obviously you have the characters hitting things, so it's obviously a pure rhythm game, but it has the illusion of being like an action game too. You know, because the sound effects when you're hitting the enemies and stuff, the sound effects are good. The sound effects are literally straight from Kingdom Hearts. The $60 price tag is super hard to swallow, though. I think it would be more justifiable if they added Utada Hikaru songs in this, because, true or not, they could make up the excuse that by adding Utada Hikaru songs in, all the licensing costs necessitates the $60 price tag. And I think hardcore Utada Hikaru fans could let that slide. Obviously, that would hurt the sales of the game, because I don't think a spinoff like this is going to sell well at $60 at all. $40 would be a great price tag for this. Simple and clean. Yeah, like, if Utada Hikaru songs were in this, I could excuse the $60 price tag, just because of the extra licensing costs. Even if it's not proportionate, Square Enix could make that case. They did. They did what? Saying Sanctuary and Simple and Clean are in the game. They are. They actually confirmed it. Why would they not put that in the demo? Why would they not put the best songs in the demo? You're trying to sell the game to people. Why would you not put that? Okay, so $60 price tag, still very steep. I still think the game should be $40. However, with Utada Hikaru songs in the game, makes it kind of forgivable. Also, like I said, though, this just has a huge learning curve because of how visually hard to read it is. But I think some people might like that, you know, because you could think of that as you could think of the visual clutter as a skill cap. I think that's a matter of perspective, though, so it's definitely not for everyone. I would not buy this at $60. I would consider buying it at $40. However, like, this feels when's this game coming out? This is coming out before Christmas, right? Japanese site, if the game has some of it. Oh, okay, the Japanese site has some songs listed, but not all songs, so it's not a complete track list yet. When is this game coming out? If this game comes out before Christmas, I think this would make a really good gift game, a really good Christmas present game, right? because I don't think many people are going to want to buy this for themselves at $60, even if they might be interested in the game. I think there might be a lot of people, like a lot of rhythm game fans and a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans that are interested in the game, and even maybe they played the demo like me and they think it's fun and they would kind of like to get the game, but $60 is just too steep. They might not get it for themselves. But if someone else got it for them, then they would really like it. You know what I mean? So I think this would make a really good Christmas game. 13th of November. Okay, so they are going for that holiday window. So maybe that's the idea. This feels like just a really nice, like Christmas present game. I bet after Christmas, though, this is probably going to get marked down big time. Because isn't Kingdom Hearts 3 already like $20? Even though it came out last year, and it's a mainline game. So if Kingdom Hearts 3 got marked down to $20 in like a year, then this is probably going to drop pretty quickly, I'd imagine. Although the fact of this game going multi-platform is nice, because like I said, Kingdom Hearts games always come out on a different console, and then it feels impossible to actually play all of them. That's actually one of my theories why Kingdom Hearts fans are so rabid, and it's because if you're like a hardcore Kingdom Hearts fan and have played every single Kingdom Hearts game, you had to be so committed because you had to pretty much own every single console. You had to own a PSP, DS, PlayStation 2. Over 140 songs, too. Okay, that's a pretty nice track list. The majority of those are just going to be like, I'm assuming the majority of that will be Yoko Shimomura. Yoko Shimomura, Utada Hikaru and Yoko Shimomura in this is a really big selling point. You know, those are really big names. So like I said, $60 price tag, super steep, but can be kind of excusable for the hardcore fans. But otherwise, it's probably just something that people will buy on a sale or maybe like want for Christmas. Hey, actually, co-op with Riku. You can play as Riku. Oh, is Riku only in co-op? Dual wielding. What? Can't reach the X button with my thumb, holding it with one hand. Ugh, I'm trying to reach for the X button. Yeah, the different enemies is cool, depending on what game it's from. Crud. I actually think the co-op in this game is actually a big selling point. Because what other rhythm games have co-op? Imagine if I actually passed this. It was just a joke! Huh, it was just a joke. I didn't actually want to pass it. Ugh. Pro gamer mashing. First try? First try? On proud difficulty? Holding 2 controllers? Now that's a Tanuki 400 IQ moment. I was not expecting that to be such an epic gamer moment, but I guess the most epic gamer moments are the unplanned ones. Okay, I like this game now. Never mind everything I said before. This game's actually epic. Whoa, Matt, we're flying together. Whoa, how do I work this thing?
Let me down.